Imagine finding yourself in the treasure vault of Iranian monarchs. Hundreds of thousands of diamonds, rubies, and emeralds sparkle before your eyes. At the center of attention are the mesmerizing ruby tiaras. What makes Empress Farah's crown a symbol of both national pride and extraordinary craftsmanship? And why was its creation shrouded in such secrecy? Which sparkling tiaras adorned the Iranian princesses? And what tiara found its way to Buckingham Palace? This video is an unplanned continuation of my two-part series dedicated to ruby tiaras. In the comments, you suggested that I take a closer look at the royal jewels of Iran, and I thought, why not? The Iranian crown jewels indeed represent a vast and dazzling collection of jewelry that should not be overlooked. I have gathered for you some stunning examples, some of which have been sold at auction, but many of them are housed in the treasury of national jewels and delight the eyes of visitors. Since we are focusing on rubies this month, I have included in the selection only those diadems that contain not just red gemstones that were mistakenly identified as rubies in the past, but genuine rubies as well. Incidentally, it is said that Iranian gemologists were the first to distinguish between rubies and spinels. Before we begin, please support my channel by clicking on the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you. Qajar dynasty diadem. Following the upheavals and discords of the 18th century in Persia, the rise to power of the Qajar dynasty marked a new era of peace and unity for the nation. Originating from a tribe whose earliest traces in Iran date back to the 11th century, the Qajar dynasty held power from 1779 until 1925. Throughout their reign, the Qajar Shahs heavily relied on the visual arts to affirm and solidify their newfound position. The Qajar rulers amassed immense wealth, intending to pass these treasures on to their descendants. Unfortunately, not all of these treasures have survived to the present day. Additionally, a significant portion of the magnificent jewelry was auctioned off by the grandchildren and great-grandchildren of the Persian Shahs. One striking example of such a sale is a floral diadem commissioned by a Qajar Shah in the 19th century. This diadem was sold at a Sotheby's auction for $16,250. The accompanying photograph and brief description from the auction listing are our only sources of information. The floral diadem captivates at first glance, even to the untrained eye. It is immediately apparent how the jeweler skillfully incorporated Indian motifs. The base, a circlet adorned with glittering enamel flowers and delicate white sapphire centers, highlights the magical elements of Indian design. The leaves and flowers, crafted from precious metal, are covered with bright green enamel, reminiscent of the vibrant hues of the East. Enchantingly large cabochon emeralds, cabochon rubies, and white sapphires form the central motifs of the diadem, showcasing a quintessential Qajar theme. It is reported that on the reverse side of the diadem, there are depictions of dancing girls. Unfortunately, we lack photographs to witness these intricate designs. The hat decoration of Fath Ali Shah. This exquisitely crafted ornament, essentially a diadem, was utilized by Fath Ali Shah as a headdress adornment, which he frequently wore atop his tall, black wool headgear. Although it could have easily been mistaken for a woman's diadem, it was never worn by any female members of the royal family. The precious stones of this unique ornament are set into a gold and silver framework. Among the gemstones, spinels and diamonds predominate, with the possible inclusion of a few rubies. The largest spinel in this diadem weighs an impressive 50 carats, while the largest diamond is 10 carats. Fath Ali Shah's headdress ornament can truly be considered a masterpiece of the jeweler's art for its exceptional symmetry. Its exquisitely refined ornamentation from the second half of the 19th century, with mathematically precise symmetry, speaks volumes about the astounding level of skill possessed by Iranian master jewelers of that era, a level that is incredibly difficult for modern craftsmen to attain, despite all the modern technologies at their disposal. This particular headdress ornament managed to survive, and it is now safely preserved in the Museum of the National Treasury of Iranian Jewels. Empress Farah's crown. The next crown was created for the wife of the last Iranian Shah, Farah Pahlavi, and this piece of jewelry has a truly fascinating history. Farah Pahlavi is one of the most beautiful and charismatic women of her time. The Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, noticed her in the summer of 1959 in Paris. Their relationship developed rapidly, and a couple of months later, the Shah proposed to Farah. In December of the same year, their wedding took place in Tehran. The 40-year-old Shah was entering his third marriage. At that time, he had not yet managed to produce an heir. From his first wife, he had only one daughter, and his second wife proved to be infertile, which, in fact, served as the reason for their divorce. The fate of the dynasty was under threat, and all of Iran was worried about this. Farah Pahlavi managed to meet the expectations placed upon her. The year after the wedding, she gave her husband the long-awaited heir. After that, they had 2 more daughters and a son. In 1967, with the vision to grant freedom to Iranian women, Mohammad Reza Shah decided to hold a ceremony to crown Empress Farah. For the upcoming coronation, a new women's crown was required. From the 50 sketches of the crown presented by the largest jewelers dreaming of obtaining this historic order, the Iranian Shah selected the sketch from the jewelry house Van Cleef and Arpels. The famous and remarkable jeweler Pierre Arpels began work on the crown. Since the stones for the crown belonged to the Iranian treasury and the law strictly prohibited their export outside the country, he had to set up a workshop in the basement of the Central Bank of Iran and work with the stones there. The jeweler personally selected each stone for the crown. After 6 months of painstaking work, the order was brilliantly fulfilled. The crown features the national colors of Iran: red, white, and green. The luxurious crown sparkled, studded with precious stones, with about 1,500 diamonds alone. In the center, huge emeralds adorned it. The large 6-angular emerald is 150 carats. The crown worn by Empress Farah at her coronation features 36 emeralds, 36 spinels and rubies, 105 pearls, and 1,469 diamonds. The full ensemble also includes a pair of earrings, 2 emerald pendants, and a necklace. Empress Farah was the first woman in the 25 centuries of Persian history to be crowned empress. The Shah himself put the crown on her head in gratitude for her contribution to the progression of Iran, especially her effort to improve the position of women. This all happened on October 27, 1967, in the Imperial Palace of Tehran. The Empress crown is part of the Iranian crown jewels and is currently on display at the Central Bank of Iran in Tehran. Princess Manijeh's ruby and pearl tiara. While some believe it was a gift from the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, to his wife, Empress Farah Pahlavi, the truth is quite different. In fact, this stunning tiara was commissioned for Princess Manijeh Jahanbani, the wife of the king's brother, Shahpur Gholamreza Pahlavi, on the occasion of the Shah's coronation. The task of designing and crafting this masterpiece was entrusted to the Leon Abedian of Tala Jewelers. Using the finest materials, Leon skillfully combined white gold, red rubies, diamonds, and pearls to create a piece that would take one's breath away. At the heart of the red ruby tiara lies a breathtaking 108-carat ruby, which holds the distinction of being the second largest ruby in the treasury of national jewels of Iran. The rubies are complemented by 488 sparkling diamonds weighing a total of 40 carats and 14 lustrous pearls, all set in pristine white gold. After the Iranian Revolution in 1979, the ownership of the Iranian imperial jewels, including the red ruby tiara, reverted to the state of Iran. Today, this magnificent tiara is proudly displayed at the Museum of the Treasury of National Jewels in Tehran, where it continues to captivate visitors. I've noticed that not everyone appreciates sharp frames in tiaras. There have been critiques regarding the use of pearls and the overall design of this particular tiara. Some feel that it looks more like a pageant queen accessory and are perplexed by the combination of stones used. So, what do you think of this tiara? Do you find the design elegant, or do you share the concerns about its aesthetics and practicality? Princess Ashraf's ruby and diamond tiara. One of the most exquisite tiaras in the Iranian royal collection is the ruby and diamond tiara that belonged to Princess Ashraf Pahlavi. Princess Ashraf Pahlavi is perhaps one of the most remarkable and yet lesser-known ladies of the tumultuous 20th century. She was the twin sister of the last Shah of Iran and the most influential woman in the country alongside her sister-in-law, Empress Farah. She worked tirelessly abroad, advocating for Iran's interests and meeting with many foreign dignitaries. She also fought against all forms of discrimination against women, becoming one of the 3 women who headed the UN Commission on Human Rights. Princess Ashraf's tiara is among the few that feature primarily rubies, while most similar tiaras contain diamonds and red stones, such as spinels. This tiara showcases rubies in large quantities and various sizes. Despite the presence of several large and valuable stones, the design of the tiara has a certain lightness. Pyramids of smaller rubies support clusters of large rubies surrounded by diamonds in this tiara, which is also accented by marquise and round diamonds and topped with a graduated series of pear-shaped diamonds. Unfortunately, there is very little evidence of this tiara being worn. It is known that Princess Ashraf wore it at one of the formal events dedicated to the coronation of the Shah and Shahbanu, Empress Farah, in 1967. At the coronation itself, Princess Ashraf wore an emerald tiara. The tiara was crafted by the favorite brand of the Pahlavi dynasty's female representatives, Van Cleef and Arpels. After the abolition of the Iranian monarchy in 1979, the imperial family fled the country, and Princess Ashraf's ruby tiara, like many other royal family jewels, remained state property as part of the crown jewels and is stored in the National Treasury of Iran at the Central Bank in Tehran. Notably, Princess Ashraf's collection included an equally impressive ruby and diamond necklace that perfectly matched the ruby and diamond tiara. The necklace is adorned at the front with a fringe of cushion-shaped rubies, topped with a cluster of diamond-studded leaves. The outline of the fringe is supported by a line of uniformly shaped rubies adorned with round diamonds. The rubies and diamonds weigh approximately 85.00 and 23.50 carats in total, respectively, and one synthetic ruby measures 16.14 inches in length, all set in platinum and white gold. The necklace bears the maker's mark, Jacques Timmy, who worked for Harry Winston in New York. Unlike the tiara, this necklace remained the private property of Princess Ashraf and was sold at Sotheby's auction in Geneva in 2000. Tiara of Persian stones. The next tiara to be discussed was placed in the Indian Room of Buckingham Palace in 1924 and has a direct connection to Qajar, Iran. On the 30th of August, 1838, an envoy of Sayyid Said, the ruler of Muscat, presented Queen Victoria with several gifts to commemorate her coronation, which had taken place 2 months prior. Among these gifts was an extraordinary tiara of Persian stones. Muscat had strong trading ties with Qajar, Iran, and it is likely that the tiara was commissioned specifically for this occasion. Later, the London jewelers Kitching and Ubud redesigned the tiara based on ideas from Prince Albert, Queen Victoria's beloved consort. It is probable that the smaller seed pearls and the upturned drop pearl at the center were incorporated into the design during this process, possibly repurposed from the 2 pearl necklaces that Sayyid Said had also presented to the Queen in 1838. The coronet is composed of 12 botte-shaped gold panels mounted onto a gold band. The outer faces of these panels are encrusted with large rubies encircled by diamonds, with a smaller ruby set into a leaf shape at their tips. Intricate enamel panels adorn the reverse sides of the tiara, depicting figures in Qajar attire, Regency costume, and a charming rose and nightingale motif. The tiara was first listed in Queen Victoria's jewels inventory in 1896. Later, the crown jeweler, Gerard, noted that Queen Victoria had bequeathed the tiara to the Duchess of Albany, describing it as a ruby, lasque, and pearl tiara with an enamel portrait at the back. The term lasque refers to an unfaceted diamond. Although the tiara temporarily left the royal collection, it eventually found its way back and was added by King George V to the Crown's Indian collection in 1924. Thank you for joining me on this fascinating journey through the treasure vaults of Iranian monarchs. I hope you found the history and craftsmanship of these remarkable ruby diadems as captivating as I did. What are your thoughts on these incredible pieces? Did any particular tiara stand out to you? Please share your opinions and insights in the comments below. I love reading your thoughts and discussions. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your friends. Thank you.